Welcome to the Carr Brothers with Jeff, Jack, and Jody Carr. They talk about current events, politics, community, and business. Take it away, boys.
Hi there. Welcome to the Carr Brothers Show. It's episode 166. I'm Jack.
And I'm Jeff.
And I'm Jody, the third of the three Carr brothers. Jack, what are we doing tonight?
Well, guys, the majority of the time we have guests, and people love having the guests, and we love having the guests. But every once in a while, people say they like to hear us talk about our topics and our perspectives, and that's what we're doing in this show.
Well, you do know that from time to time, people have said we do like to have something to say every now and then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And I feel like we've discussed, some topics, and other topics will come up as well, and that's cool. In this segment, we'll have three segments, as most people know. In this segment, I think we'll predominantly talk about the municipal election and how that ties in our experience, 35 years elected experience combined in the provincial legislature. A lot of it's the same, of course, different jurisdictions, but the same formula for getting elected or reelected. And then second segment and third, we'll do a potpourri of things. We'll talk about MAID and how we've got track one, track two. Track one is end-of-life care, people who are dying. Mm-hmm. Track two is a huge issue. We've had, it on our show before, but a issue of people with disabilities where they're actually suffering to live. And provincial and federal governments are supporting government-assisted suicide. So we'll talk about that. Maybe the PC leadership, how that's going between Daniel Len and Don Monahan, the Liberal government, how are things going after the budget, how we think things are going, and
quite a wide range, but a lot of it's political.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, municipal elections, that's kind of a positive thing for most areas, especially if you have lots of interest.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of candidates. It means people are engaged and they want to either make change, make improvements, or they're doing it because they don't like something that somebody did, or they want to get involved that way or otherwise.
Mm-hmm. So it's very positive.
Yeah, so
it really
seems to be a lot of buzz with the municipal election, like a lot of activity, a lot of candidates, new candidates, experienced candidates, others that are coming back.
And it's coming up quick. May 11th is voting day for municipal elections. Okay. And not just municipalities, but
education and
education board, education council. But outside of the municipalities, the LSDs that were left, the advisory committees, are now all one, I guess they call it a regional district. Rural districts, so all of our local service districts, Gary and Burton, Majorville, and those places that didn't get pulled into incorporated areas, they have representation where there's candidates running, and much like the local service districts, they advise on contracts like garbage and
It's not the same as a mayor in that.
It's not the same as a mayor, but they're elected now.
But they still have to run for election.
They still have to run for election.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
well, we might talk about that too. Like, I don't know about this forced vote on everybody, this forced municipal, and I know we had Denny Cogswell on, and he was from Fundy Shores there, and said at first he was against the kind of forced incorporation and mayorships, but then now has come to embrace it and has been very effective as the mayor. Did he get acclaimed?
He did.
Yes, so it's a good show of sign of support and work. But I don't know if we want.
He did. There is an election for a councillor at large down there. There are three candidates for two positions, so that shows a little interest.
In Fundy Shore.
Yes.
Yeah. So in Bathurst.
But anyway, that's another whole topic.
Oh, yeah. No, it's great. It's still part of the topic.
Don't worry about that.
It's still part of the topic. I mean, Dennis had said that there were 5 municipalities, these new rural municipalities since the last election that had to go under supervision, including the one here in York-Sunbury. And there's a mayoralty race there.
Yep.
Councillors are running. In that area covers Beaver Dam, Birchagornish, Wasis. So
I think it's, I wonder why would these get so dysfunctional that they have to go under supervision, and probably because people don't really know what they're getting into, maybe. Maybe they have a misunderstanding or a lack of, or their expectation is either high or too high or veered off. I don't really blame people for that.
Sometimes life changes.
Oh, that could be too.
Well,
there's obviously conflict, and people can't get along, or this or that, or can't get their way, or just don't.
Mixed expectations probably is a big part of it. And we've seen it we've seen all the elections we've been involved with, whether it's the party level in the provincial elections or individual candidates, or even in these municipal elections, candidates that they're overpromising.
Yeah.
Joe, you 1995,
Right from the beginning, Jack.
19 years old, first election, going up against the likes of not only in the region but candidates going up against two elected MLAs. One very popular, Von Blaney, and Ab Rector was popular from 91 till the election of 1995. So he was an experienced election. You went up against two of them.
And what did I promise?
You promised hard work, and to be there all the time, not just at election time. And if you can do something, you will. And if you can tell them that you won't, you'll tell them that too.
Here. Yes, and
but that was
seemed
refreshing
to work.
for
It
people.
was refreshing, and it
was.
seemed to work out well. And I tried to follow that throughout my entire time being elected. It just seems to make sense.
And how does that compare with overpromising, and what road do candidates who eventually get elected have to deal with that?
Well, I think they have a lot of answers to provide when the next election time. Like what's your results? What are you? You're not doing what you said. It creates much more anxiety and stress for everybody.
Yeah,
we always said I'd rather lose telling the truth,
And not overpromising.
not overpromising, and then can put my head down on the pillow at night and not have that extra pressure of.
Because we've seen it.
Well, that was
at
the thing.
provincial level. You've seen caucus members saying, "Well, I promised all these things." Well, like, why did you do that?
Exactly, and that's why I started out by saying I wouldn't make promises, because I knew at the time, even then, 25 years ago, that people were tired of promises that weren't going to be kept.
Right.
So what I would say is
Cynicism, right?
buyer beware in the community. When you see a candidate make a whole lot of promises, I think pretty well most people kind of know that take it with a grain of salt.
Well, and that's what the public, when candidates during this municipal election are going door to door, we'll ask them, what's your plan in order to get that promise fulfilled? How are you going to fulfill lower taxes?
Yeah.
How are you going to fulfill this and that project, this, that?
Yeah, especially when some of the promises are outside of the municipal jurisdiction.
Right. And so now we've had people, not only this election, but several of the elections coming to us individually or as a group, or just pops up in conversation, seeking advice. Whether it's an experienced candidate, lots of times it's new candidates asking for advice. So what advice, besides the promises, we've talked about that, but what advice would you give for a brand new candidate coming into this election? There's still time, like Jeff said, May 11th is the election, but there's still time to incorporate some of these sort of strategies. But someone sort of brand new and they're trying to campaign, trying to get support.
Right. So, I mean, on top of what we've already discussed about not overpromising, never overpromise, because you cannot control what happens after you're sworn in or whatever. But if you are successful and you are sworn in, don't think that you're going to go into office on day one and start swinging a sledgehammer and making big changes. Learn.
I've been there. It doesn't work.
We've seen lots of people do it. And municipally here now, it's going to take there's some growing pains for a lot of people to learn their way through. I see lots of different councils here with elections and a lot of new people, a lot of new faces, which is great. But learn what your roles and responsibilities are first, and learn what the parameters are. Like, what can you change and how long does it take you to change it? There's voting processes for all of it. So that would be my biggest advice. Don't go in on day one and try to kick the tables and chairs over, demanding this, that, and the other thing. It's going to take some time. And what you're going to do when you go in and do that is you're going to turn people on the inside of whatever office it is, whatever level of government it is. They're going to put up a wall, and you're not going to get anywhere. So a little bit of, if you put out honey, some flies will get caught in it. But just take your time working your way through about what you can do and how long it's going to take you.
And so that's once you get elected.
Once you get elected, exactly.
So here in the next 2 weeks before the election, someone calls us up, chat with them, and some previous meetings we've had. They got to get out and around, and
you
maybe
got to be out. Don't spend all your time on social media.
Right.
Yeah, you have to have social media presence right now. Maybe a daily post, but don't spend your whole day writing theories and thesis all over social media. Get out to the events, get out where people are, talk to people, spread your message, have them familiar with your name so that when election day comes, they know at least they recognize the name on the ballot type of thing.
Name recognition is worth a lot. We were talking to a candidate, Jeff, you and I, last weekend, and I suggested, direct mail. Get direct mail. And but I said, don't overload it with words and text, because primarily they're going to see your name.
Yep.
Even when it comes at home, it's mostly to get the name out there, name recognition, and if you got some content. But if you overload it, well, generally, even if you underload it, they're not reading it all anyway, but they see the name.
Name in the face.
Keep it.
I remember my first election in 2014. I went into a house in Tracy and knocked on the door and went in and sat at the kitchen table, and they had my little 6x8 postcard, which, took that idea from you guys, with a little face, name, few points on it. And then one of my competitors had a full 8.5 by 11 piece of paper that they were mailing out to people, and it was right full of stuff. And when I sat down to talk to the people, they're like, we don't want to read all that stuff. We just want to see that simple postcard. So there's strategies around that, like you say, on the mailers. Don't overload them. So,
well, I did that 2006, probably overloaded a lot of my stuff. And then what I learned from that in 2008 was exactly what you said. Less is more, white space, and primarily name recognition, and keep it shorter. But then that one, 08 and 2010, I think we did 4, maybe 5 mailouts. One just these days just doesn't, and that was however many long, 15, 20 years ago. But now municipally, it's funds and trying to get the budget to do even more than one mailout.
Yep.
But what else, Joe? It's going.
Well, the big thing is in the next 2 weeks is find out who's going to vote for you and get them out to the poll, get them to vote. And I think they can vote any day. So this whole just be seen or just go whatever and spend time and do a lot of talking, but who's going to vote for you? You got to identify your voters, your supporters, and encourage them or get them to vote.
To go vote.
It's the number of ballots in the box. So whoever can.
The returning offices are open now, so people can go vote every day.
And whoever can systemize that and make it work.
Pretty simple recipe.
It's just really a simple recipe.
Sense of urgency. It's like if they're talking about it right now, supporting you, then like you said, Joe, and still educating people that they can vote every day. They don't have to wait till May the 11th. And we've been educating constituents for 20 years. I think the first one was 2006. I think that you could. It was a special ballot and things like that. But it's more accessible now than ever. So that's good insight. And what about a candidate? They do go to an event. They go to something. Do they just sit back in the corner somewhere and hope people come to you, or what sort of?
No, you can't. You have to get around the room.
Yeah,
get around the room, shake people's hand, make personal contact with them, build rapport.
The first thing I do is go and see the organizer and the MC first off the bat, because you might get a chance where you're being recognized. And if they don't know you're there, they might know the mayor candidates and this, but they may not know the councillor. They've never met, so you get right up there, and then when they list off the MLA and this and that, well, then they might mention the candidates too. So then they know, and then the organizers know, and they're going to spread that.
The last thing you want to be is not mentioned at the microphone when they're mentioning everyone else.
That's right.
It's like, oh, I'm here too.
Yeah, I know. They didn't say
There's some
my
candidate
name.
forums going on out there.
Yes.
You meet the candidates, which is kind of fun to see. And it's fun to see the new people, like the different people that are putting their names forward, people with different experiences, and people you might not even think in some communities. And it's kind of fun. It is fun to see. It'll be also fun after they get elected to see how things go. But it is. We got a lot of potential with all of the competition and the people that want to run for councils. And the mayors, like you were saying in Bathurst, there's how
what's
many
going on in
candidates,
Bathurst?
Let's count
how many
them up
positions,
here.
and
So Kim Chamberlain is the incumbent. I worked with Kim a little bit when I was elected. She also ran the last provincial election. So she is actually being she's being challenged by another candidate. So she's not acclaimed. So there's 2 candidates for one mayoral position, obviously. But for councillor in Bathurst, there's 8 positions to fill, and there's 17 candidates. total. So that's a long ballot, which is interesting.
It sounds like Pierre Poilievre's riding in Ottawa.
Yeah, when there was over 100 and
what's going on up there?
Well, what's going on? That's a lot of engagement.
It really is. There's like the same, well, obviously the same name, same last name for a few of them, but it's interesting.
And we have some notable.
There's so many.
There are some notables into the race in the province, and there's likely more. But what comes to mind is former Liberal cabinet minister right here in Fredericton, Don Arsenal.
Yes,
he's a candidate in one of the wards here in Fredericton, and Brian Murphy, former MP. In Moncton, running for mayor, and that's some experience there.
Former mayor too, I think. Wasn't he before MP?
He might have been.
Could be, yes.
He's running for mayor
coming
again.
Back.
And there's going to be a contest there as well. Let's bring it up real quick and see how many is there while you guys fill in the time.
Fredericton, we have a contest. St. John, what's that?
What's shaping up there?
I haven't been watching it, but there is a lot of incumbents that are. There's a lot of incumbents that are running. So there's one position to fill for mayor in Moncton. There's 4 candidates. So.
4 candidates. What are the candidates?
Sean Crosman, who is a current councillor. Charles Legier. I'm not sure if he was. I don't think he was on council before. Jeffrey McCluskey, and Brian Murphy. So there's the 4. Brian is who we just spoke of.
Okay.
And then there's an election in every ward down there. So.
And I think in St. John there is a race because Barry Ogden's running.
Yep.
And I think the incumbent.
Oh, and I see. So there is.
Donna Reardon.
So for councillor at large in Moncton, former MLA Greg Turner and cabinet minister is running in Ward 2.
He was councillor.
Or councillor at large, and Marty Kingston is reoffering.
Oh, yes.
He's an incumbent in the councillor at large. So that'll be a battle there, I'm sure, for 5 people. And then, so we want to go to St. John, guys.
Sure.
Real quick, big cities. Let's do the major centers first, because I know that we've been given notification that
I focus on Gary so much, but
our first segment is almost through, but we can extend it a little bit here. St. John, 3 candidates for mayor.
Okay.
Donna Reardon, who is the incumbent mayor there. She's been on council for a number of years. Barry Ogden, who was a provincial candidate at one time. He's running for mayor, and I hear he's doing very well down there. And Blaine Harris, our old friend Blaine Harris from, I think,
the Barbers Association.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Really?
He's stepping up to run, and he's very active on social media. So we were down there this week, Jack and St. John, a lot of signage.
Well, he's not shy.
He is not shy, no. And he's, if you're in it for the right reasons, which I think those 3 are.
Yeah.
It should be a good contest for them throughout. So
good.
A lot of incumbents reoffering in St. John.
St. John's known for some character,
Gary
candidates
Sullivan
with character.
Yeah. Greg Norton reoffering. John McKenzie reoffering. Mariah Darling reoffering. Paula Rodwan, she's reoffering too. So David Merrithew is back in the mix. David Merrithew was a councillor in St. John for many years, and now he's back in the mix. Paul Dempsey, who was a provincial candidate, is offering. Phil Como, who was a provincial candidate, is offering. So
Also out in Quispamsis is former minister Mary Stryer is running.
Yes.
Yeah. And Emil
Olson
is running for
long-time
council. For councillor again.
Yeah.
See, and you guys, being former cabinet ministers, would know a lot of these candidates throughout the province. And Jeff, as being one of the most recent, being minister of local government.
Oh yeah, you get to know a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
And is Denny Landry running again?
I don't think so.
I don't think.
No, he
don't think so.
What is that riding name or that municipal? I don't know. It's a new municipality.
Okay, well we'll get the research.
I don't think it's Beauvirage.
What about Fredericton?
Let's wrap it up around there and look at Fredericton and see what's what.
You want to look at Fredericton, then we'll wrap up this segment.
Well, it's obviously quite a. I think it's going to be a good race for mayor candidate. It's
3 candidates for mayor.
Oh, there's 3 really.
Okay, tell us who they are.
Steve Hicks, longtime councillor.
18 years, I believe.
Well, I was surprised to hear that.
Yeah.
That it was that long, and then you get the impression he's someone new, which is actually good on him and good on his supporters.
And he wasn't on council this last term, I don't believe.
Yeah, he was.
He was, really? Okay.
Yeah, so he's stepping it up and run for mayor.
But it goes to show, too, that some people say, well, why didn't he make any change? Well, because you're one councillor. You can't make all changes. It's like a committee. It's a committee by consensus, really. Anyway, who else is running? for mayor.
Well,
12 councillors. 12 councillors. So you're one out of 12 people that get to vote on that, right? So the other candidate is Janica Atwin, former member of Parliament here in Fredericton. Janica was elected as a Green Party member, and then we know she crossed the floor to the Liberal Party, and then opted to not run under Justin Trudeau in the last federal election. And then when leadership changed, she just decided to not reoffer, and we know that the rest is history. And now she's back to try to be the mayor of Fredericton. So we'll see. Jenica's family friend of ours, and her family are friends with our family that we've known Jenica. So we wish her well. We'll see how that goes. She's been busy doing it. And John Reed, don't know John Reed. I've never heard of John Reed before. I'm not sure if you guys have or not, but he is the third candidate in the race. And so we'll see how that goes. And then we have
a lot of candidates.
Various candidates.
Well, I don't know if it's a balance. There's a lot of new candidates in some experience, but a lot of new candidates stirring the pot.
Very multiple candidates. Multiple candidates in a lot of those wards.
So 7 out of the 12 wards have no incumbents running. That's
so they're
substantial.
Oh, no incumbents.
No incumbents running. Yeah, there's elections in each of them, but no incumbents running. The only incumbent that got acclaimed in the city of Fredericton is Greg Erickson. And he's been a long-time councillor. And
that's
Ward
pretty,
8.
And that says a lot.
Nod of the cap there for Greg Erickson. It's very active area as well. So
lots of friends on here. Lloyd Dutcher running in Ward 7. There's no incumbent running there. Manish Varma.
Alan Hilchey.
He's on Jeff Shanks is on the ballot.
Jeff Thompson.
Brant McPherson running against Jeff Thompson over in Ward 10. That'll be interesting. There's a pair of candidates there that do a lot of social media talking.
Question I have: are the Carr brothers covering the municipal election on election night? Is there going to be coverage of any type of media locally?
Well, we'll have to check out with Patrick
down
in CHCO and Vicky if they've got the resources and
out to get the scoop. Stacey Collett and Janet Mosier over in Ward 12 running against each other.
Yeah, that's a race in Silverwood area.
So that's a lot of people interested in the capital city, and of course Don Arsenault is running in one of those awards. So. That's a lot of chat about municipal elections and municipal governance, and
time to
and we haven't even been able to really dig into the local districts, the rural districts,
or the issues.
I know. So
let's move on.
Let's take a little break here now for a few minutes, and then we'll be right back in just a couple minutes.
Hi there, welcome back to the Carr Brothers Show. It's episode 166. I'm Jack.
And I'm Jeff.
And I'm Jody.
Well, we're very pleased for our viewers tuning in on CHCO. As many know, but more are growing to know, that we're on, the channel is on Rogers, Bell, and Shaw. So essentially every home in New Brunswick with cable has access to CHCO, and that's been a new thing in the last couple of years. So, and we're also on our YouTube channel and on your favorite podcaster. So we want to thank our viewers and listeners for tuning in each and every week. Yeah. So we had a great discussion on the municipal election, and it'll be fun to watch this time around. But let's talk about in this segment that we've decided on hot button issues that are sort of hot right now and things to watch.
Yeah. We know it as MAID.
Yes.
So for the viewers, what does MAID stand for? Medically assisted in dying, I think
that's correct. Yes.
Yeah. And tell us a little bit more about.
Yeah, Jody.
You talked in the intro in the very start of the show about the different streams of it, or the different tiers, levels, or tracks. So.
Yeah. So, Joe, give us a elevator description of this.
Well, first off, most people know medical assistance in dying are for people that are at near the end of life, that want to plan a dignified death and avoid harm and suffering. And so, within the last couple of months, the last few weeks, whatever, they have to consent. They have to apply for they make the application, and then at the time of administering the procedure, they have to be able to consent for that as well. Well, what the law, when that was made legal, the federal government changed the criminal code to provide an exemption and basically say that assisted death for people at the end of life for these purposes is not criminal. So the government did not provide a positive right, but if you're going to provide this service, then it's going to be exempt from criminality.
If like a doctor provides the service,
yeah,
right.
If a doctor, the government, or whatever provides this, it won't be criminal.
Right.
So it hasn't mandated that every province must provide this equally to everyone, but it is generally provided to everyone. And then in 2020, there was a decision of a lower court in Quebec only, and the court decided that someone with a disability who's not dying or at the end of life should be allowed to have MAID, medical assistance in dying. So the Trudeau government at the time, instead of challenging a profound concept such as that, the Trudeau government just implemented changes to the legislation that allowed a new track, a new exemption beyond those that were near the end of life. They also allowed for this special track 2 that only those people that are not dying but have a disability, they can apply to have MAID and before the end of their life. And the problem with that is that the argument is that there is no obligation that the government needs to provide that extra track. It's not everyone's right to have medical assistance in dying. Our healthcare systems are actually founded on allowing people to live. So it's caused a lot of challenges, a lot of problems, a lot of evidence and information from public and community that people are being offered medical assistance in dying instead of support. Veterans are being offered medical assistance in dying instead of the support programs, mental health. Well, then government has also gone further and put in legislation with a sunset clause that there will be a further expansion of medical assistance in dying provided by the government or allowed, that will not be criminal, is to give people with mental illness as their sole underlying condition the right to have medical assistance in dying and avoid criminality, the criminal code.
Right.
So they won't,
And that if stays on track, would be in 2027.
That's correct.
In next year. And so people, with depression, PTSD, addiction, all that, who really, most people that we hear about are trying to get support, trying to get help, have roadblocks, just can't take it anymore, and then they'll be able to decide. And then the other thing I recently learned is that family members, there's no obligation to tell family members or friends, and
due to privacy.
You get a phone call, and there you go. It's happened already.
And it's already happening to people with disabilities and their families. So
and flags were raised about this track many years ago.
Many
when
years
the government first started talking about it.
So and people still don't. A lot of people still don't realize there's a special track, a special exemption for people not at the end of life. And what the debate seems to be right now is not the track 1, where people are at the end of life, and there's a lot of good blessings and stories of planning that death. You either get medication and you're unconscious, fast track, or you can plan with your family and at a time you want. There's no real debate about that track 1. Where the debate has occurred is with this track 2, a special exemption that just because you have a disability, you can apply to end your life early. And the problem with that is people will say, well, what about the autonomy and giving people free choice? Those people that aren't pushed and coerced and don't have to try to get support, but want to make that choice. Well, people would say and argue that you don't give everybody everything. The government puts restrictions on what they'll do. And if for a few people that might have the means and the wherewithal and the whatevers to make that choice, for a few people, you're sacrificing a whole group of vulnerable people. Right. And the whole group of vulnerable people, of people with disabilities, are feeling coerced into medical assistance in dying because it's, for them, it's harder to get support to live than it is to die, literally. And then people will say, oh, there's safeguards, there's legislation, there's safeguards. No, there isn't. There is legislation, but it doesn't mean that the safeguards are actually being followed. And there's so many loopholes and so many lack of oversight currently that people with disabilities can get through to get this made. And is this the country that we want? That we're going to make it easier for people to die and kill themselves than it is to help them live and support? And I don't think that's the country that we want. No. Now, going further, currently the legislative committee is looking to expand it to mental illness. So then normally when someone is depressed and they want to kill themselves, we try to do everything we can to help them.
If they're on a bridge and people drive by, you know, what are you going to do? Well, you're going to try to stop them and grab them.
And there's suicide prevention, and then there's medication, and there's treatment, and there's hope.
Counseling.
There's hope.
There's tons of stories where you hear of people that were in the process or even in the act of doing it, and you know, an act of God stopped them from dying, and then they're very thankful that, you know, that something prevented them from dying, and they look back and thank God, because I was in a real hard place right there.
Yeah.
But with support, medication,
and what's so frustrating is anything good that people want the government to do, how quick does government run out and do all this good stuff to help people? But no, there's a select few that want to be able to die whenever they want to be able to, and have the government fund it and be, you know, because it's their choice and their right. Well, people still have a choice. It's crass, but people have a choice. But is this the choice we want the government to go rush out there and put a system in place that allows people to kill themselves?
So is this issue going to get traction politically? Because you get, you know, of course, the federal Liberal Party obviously changed this legislation. Others voted for it with other parties. Now, we did see what happened in the Alberta provincial government, which sets a precedent for the other provincial governments.
Well, the other provinces right up till now, including our own, including when I was there, it's just people seem to want to just wash their hands of it and not think of it and ignore it. But provinces have a lot of latitude, because provinces are the ones in charge of healthcare, providing healthcare. So Alberta has said, okay, federal government has said, if we help someone commit suicide, we're not going to be charged with murder. Great, but the federal government has not said every province must provide equally medical assistance in dying for everyone. So the province of Alberta has said, under our regime funding healthcare, we are a system of healthcare that helps people live longer. So we're going to limit within our jurisdiction what we're spending funds on for healthcare. And yes, there will be court challenge, but they have the right as a province.
Spend the funds on helping healthcare, but
well, it could be healthcare for psychology, for support services, for access to doctor, pain management. Another big reason people want medical assistance in dying. They're not dying, but they're suffering of pain because they can't get pain management. There's a long waiting list. There's the lack of expertise. They can't fund medications, get the right concoctions together, or they can't get the wheelchair fitted properly, or they're on a waiting list to get that fitted properly. There's just so many different barriers that people have that forces them to feel like it's not worth living. So if government says, or people will say, well, they should have that choice. Yeah, but government is helping by their lack of systems and by creating a system that makes it easier to die. The government has created this type of thing. And so then do you want government to facilitate? This is what's happening. And then we think, oh, well, I mean, they're suffering. People with a disability, my gosh, they're suffering. We should let them end their life. Well, the thing is, for everyone else, we would say that there's hope, and we can work towards, you're not at the end of life. You know, we're going to stick it through. But for some reason, we think people with disabilities that you know, we think that they don't want to live. Most people do want to live, but they can't live within the systems that they're living in.
You can't take it any longer.
Yeah, and so it's just like, well, do you want to free hand it? Well, it goes back to the type of country we want. We're supposed to help people. We have mental health services where it's supposed to be available, but it isn't equally available. Psychiatry, psychologists, counselors, long waiting lists. And now you're going to, before you fix the support systems, you're going to allow people to commit suicide and fund it and make it easier. It just doesn't make sense. It's just so backwards.
Well, we'll see if it gets traction with the government, politicians, but then other there's a lot of opposition parties.
A lot of like the public doesn't realize, but a lot of politicians don't realize. They don't realize, even in the federal parliament, what the law actually is right now and why. And then there's a lot of noise and oh no, I heard Pamela Wallen the other night, we have laws in place like to protect people. Well, you think you do.
She's on a committee?
Well,
she's on a parliamentary committee.
She was
studying
she
this.
would have been a senator that gave the final approval for, after third reading. And
they said, well, she has said, wouldn't we think that someone that has a legitimate need and choice and want to, even if they're not dying, what would it be if we're preventing that person from having medical assistance and dying? And I would say, well, okay, that one person wants medical assistance and dying at the harm of who else? So not everyone is autonomous amongst themselves. Like no one is fully autonomous. We live in a society where there's limits and restrictions on all sorts of things that government puts in place.
Right.
So just because person A, who's well off and affluent and wants to make this choice, doesn't mean that you impose that system where the other people that are more vulnerable would fall into that would cause their deaths unnecessarily. And mental illness, we had experts that have said once it expands to mental illness, you're going to get a lot more women. And it was a woman specialist that said vulnerable women will commit suicide when they're in harmful domestic situations, right? Because they will feel that that's one of their only ways, their only option. Should they have the right? I would potentially, but to what expense?
Right.
And why don't we work as hard as we can to make sure she has the domestic support, the counseling, the psychology? Why are we giving up on people? And that seems to be the feeling for people with disabilities. Why do we give up on people?
Yeah, when there's so much to be able to offer and such a life potential to be able to be fulfilled, contributing to society, and so much to add.
Yeah, and really what the government, they're debating back and forth in this. They should have, and they still should, take the question to the Supreme Court. It's going to go to the Supreme Court anyways through these court challenges. Truchon, the decision in the lower court in Quebec, never, ever would you have seen a government not appeal that decision. But it was political. It was election time. It was Quebec. Lametti was the minister. Trudeau was from Quebec. They just put that into law, and there was really no need. It's never been tested at the Supreme Court. Some experts like Carrie Frock at UNB, professor of law, has said that really there is no legal argument or basis to expand and have Track 2.
Right. Wow.
Because what the federal government has provided is not a benefit. When they changed the law to allow for medical assistance in dying, it's not a benefit. It was actually an exemption from the criminal code. So she says the law treats that differently. You're not giving a benefit that has to be provided equally. You're providing an exemption. So therefore, there is no equality rights of everybody else that should have access to that too.
Interesting.
And anyway,
well, I guess it's been a good discussion. It's we're done our segment 2.
Did we say we like to talk? I'm sorry.
No, it's been very it's been refreshing and good discussion.
There's been a lot of advocates on Parliament Hill talking to MPs and talking to cabinet committees and talking to parliamentary committees and talking to Senate committees. They should know by now. I mean, Krista, for one, she's there all the time.
I know.
With Inclusion Canada, trying to educate these folks, and it just doesn't. It either doesn't sink in, or they don't understand the gravity of it, where it's going.
Yeah, and they're just dismissing. And it's like, how do you get that many disability organizations, including Krista's, who's the CEO of Inclusion Canada there, and she, I've been fortunate to have that insight, obviously, but the legal insight as well, and. It's just really in 10 years, 15, 20, do we want to do things today that the government has to apologize for? This is where this is heading.
Right.
History of disability is sterilization, incarceration, institutionalization, and now this MAID regime is another
layer on that
type of historic prejudice.
The next generation of Trudeaus will come along in 20 years and apologize all over again for another raft of things.
Well,
so strange.
And then the call out is it's not on the Trudeau's plate. The call out is to all politicians, but on the other parties too. Because it's not a lock stock that all the other parties are against this.
I know.
Even the Conservative Party, it's not cut and dry. So it's reaching out to your MP, MLA candidates, senators, get this issue, ask questions, be informed.
And provincial and municipal.
Yeah.
Municipal don't mind making promises about a whole bunch of things.
Yeah.
Well, you know, someone that's homeless is depressed and down and out, you're going to say, okay, well, we'll give you MAID.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to start doing more and more. Like, really? And then it's the last people standing. And who's the last to be standing? So, buyer beware. We got to be out there, got to be asking questions. And it's encouraging to see Alberta, because I think our province of New Brunswick can even do more to just make sure the safeguards are there and oversight.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right. Well, that kind of wraps up segment 2, doesn't it?
Well, folks, we best be getting on to a break, and we'll be back just in a few minutes. Thank you very much.
Hi there. Welcome back to the Carr Brothers Show. It's segment 3 on episode 166. I'm Jack.
And I'm Jeff.
And I'm Jody, the third of the 3 Carr brothers.
Okay, well, we have, just several minutes left, not a whole lot of time, but let's delve into a few a couple more hot button topics, and then we'll also talk about what's in store for a couple other episodes that we're working on. Let's do a little roundabout, quick little discussion about the PC leadership contest. It's just a mail-in ballot only. We've got 2 candidates, Don Monahan, current MLA, Danny Alain, former MLA and cabinet minister. What are you guys hearing out there? Are you hearing much? What are you seeing on social media?
Seeing them both very active.
Yes.
And going around the province, lots of different directions, holding little events and meet the candidate events. And they've been in Fredericton, St. John. They're in the north. They're moving around. They're getting some people out to their events, it seems. Danny was in Inkerman on the weekend hosted a breakfast. That's Paul Robichaud territory up there, and the
Claude Landry
Shippigan area.
Yeah, the room was packed. Like they said, sold out tickets for the breakfast, and we hear that all the time. But when I saw the photos, it's like, wow, there's some people out. So I don't know what's going on up in that area, which has been a Liberal stronghold. I guess you could call it a stronghold. The last election was really dominated by Eric Maillet. I think that's his area for the Liberals. But to see that many people out, I don't know if they're feeling more excitement now, because it was a PC riding for a number of years for Paul Robichaud, right? So
yeah,
I wonder what's happening up there.
Yeah, I don't know if that's Paul's or not. Is it Inkerman?
Inkerman, I don't know.
But
in the region anyway.
In the region, and
up in the region,
it'll be interesting. I mean, it always is. But you can get in some of the northern ridings, you can get like thousands of people out to an opposition to a PC nomination, and still lose that riding.
Oh yeah,
because of the participation. Just seems like you get thousands out to a Liberal, then thousands out to the PC, and then the Liberals still win like by thousands more than So it's it is interesting. It's good to see the numbers for sure. But
now Don had an event last night or sometime this week or weekend at St. James Gate in Fredericton. That's over on West Hills at the golf course.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if whoever was taking his photos didn't, because there's an act to it. You got to get your crowd in the photo behind you or whatever. And it didn't seem like there was a lot there, but the uptake in Fredericton doesn't seem to be as heavy either. Danny was at Picaroons last Friday night, and it seemed to be a big crowd for a Friday evening, nice weather. So it just depends on the day, but I don't know. Who's got the momentum? I don't know. Who's got the team? I know who Danny has for a team, and they're well-oiled, and they've been around the business for a while, and they know how to win.
Yeah.
His advantage is he's got a seat in the legislature, and he gets to stand up during estimates and as a finance critic and use that platform too. So I don't know. We'll see. We've had Danny here on the show once. We've extended the invitation to Don Monahan. He's not taken that up yet, so
the invite's been there.
We really don't know enough about him, or haven't gotten to know him.
No, I've met him once. Nice fella. Met him once. Yeah, nice fella. And
so it's interesting that the vote for that is next fall in October, but you can now go on the PCMB website and buy a membership, pay for the package that you would receive in the mail to fill out for ballot.
Did you mean like 2027 or this fall 2026?
This fall coming up,
this fall
2026.
Yeah.
Yep, which is halfway through the mandate, I guess.
Yeah, he's Danielle is very personable, very inclusive. Has a lot of contacts throughout the entire province with his political background. So I think he has, from that perspective, an advantage. Don Monahan might be seen as kind of a new outside kind of even though he's a member of the legislature, hasn't been a member for very long. So he might be the newer person. Interesting to see who's backing who. Danielle Lanahan has, I think, more of the progressive conservatives that's been around historically around the province. Don Monahan maybe more of the righter wing,
newer
conservatives like the Blaine Higgs conservatives and Chris Austin's that type. But that happens in every race, though, and there's people on both sides will go and support. But so far, nothing really controversial. Don't expect much controversy.
No. Cordial.
Yeah, very
cordial.
cordial.
Do you expect any more candidates to get in at this late stage?
Well, I don't expect any.
I don't expect any.
Don't think the deadline's been met yet, but for new candidates, but I don't expect any. It'd be very tough. Very tough.
And then I think it's going to be, then the next stage, of course, they'll have 2 years to work and try to show people why they need to replace Susan Holt. But I think that's still going to be a tough job. I mean, anything can happen, but
even with their deficits.
Yeah, even with their deficits.
And that segues us into talking about the Susan Holt, the Liberal government, almost 2 years in, and as you said, as you said, Joe, I don't think it's going to be the one-term government.
It's not a slam dunk.
No slam dunk.
No, she's been working for the second election since before the first election.
Right.
Like, she is a real hard worker. We've all worked with her over the years. She's been with the Chamber of Commerce and the business councils and private companies, and she's just tenacious and works hard.
Well, day and night.
And and even in spite of the debt and deficit, we know that a lot of people don't follow the debt and deficit, but maybe it will get to a point, and it has gotten to a large point where there's going to be $6 billion added to the debt. It's such a large number, it's almost incomprehensible to people.
Well,
I think.
Not only that, though, but we know that when the economy is tough and cost of living goes up, it doesn't matter who's in government, you feel the wrath of that as elected governments.
Yeah, more so than what you would on the debt and deficit. So if gas prices weren't addressed by Carney, which has helped a lot, potentially that could have been an issue. And also there can be sleeper issues that we don't know of that will come up. NB Power is very vulnerable, and those rates.
And
and
I mean, to bring up again the provincial field veterinary program.
Well, exactly.
But they got time to smooth that. But
it's a great example because they are trying now, by the looks of it, between John Heron's comments and Susan Holt's last weekend on Facebook.
Like a freeze.
Sounds like they're going to do a little backtracking, and I figured that would happen. I just didn't know how soon. The benefit of the government is that veterinarian issue is the one that bubbled up. So in a way, strategic advice might be don't go and solve it right away. Let that continue to be the issue that people... Yeah, distraction. Let that continue to be the distraction. And then we'll circle back around, and they have started already meetings with the Agriculture Alliance, talking about stretching this out, looking at alternative models.
And when the latest that I read was, I think was John's comments, that we will ensure there is a structure in place before we start making those moves. So
and Susan
that tells me it's like, okay, it settles things.
December's deadline may not happen for the horse owners.
And Susan Holt basically said the same thing on the weekend on Facebook too, made the similar comments, and that's what they've been known to do, and they've been successful. When there's a bit of pressure, there's bound to be an issue in a budget that will bubble up, and that one had, and I would imagine they'll find some sort of common ground and solution and give them back some money, and there are alternatives besides cutting the program. I guess what's frustrating is it should have never been cut in the first place, but it happens.
So we'll see.
It happens. It's happened before, but we'll see. I imagine they'll get that one sorted out, like public health and like the education budgets. And
so now let's talk about. Let's segue. There's a good word. Next episode, Terry Segay. We've got him on. We've mentioned it. We met him, saw him at an auction event back in November, and he'll come on. And a few months later, Terry is
you've got him booked,
locked in there for next week. Former CBC Information Morning host and CBC TV host. That's gonna be great to have him. He's retired.
So we did have him on Zoom at one time a few years back.
Yeah,
and Was he still with CBC?
He was just
then, or was
freshly
he just
retired. I think.
Right.
Either
So
he was retired or about to be.
He
retired.
ended up asking us all the questions that day, which was fun. I mean, he's asked us questions over the years,
Yeah.
and he was having some fun with it. But it'll be great to have him in studio, and whether he's asking or we're asking, we can have a little fun banter with Terry. He was tough at times.
Yep.
A lot of politicians or ministers just don't like the idea of going on the morning show with Terry Segay because they're scared to death of him.
Well,
but I always went.
The weak ones. The weak ones blame the person asking the questions.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's never the person.
They asked me that.
Yeah.
Listen,
I can't believe they asked me that.
So
Yeah,
it's really knowing the role. So it's the journalist's job to ask the questions, challenge and ask questions, and really state the facts. You said this on such and such, but you're doing this, or why'd you do this? It's the politician's role to answer,
Or to choose to answer
And
how they
choose
want
to
to
answer.
How they answer.
They
Yeah.
can choose frankly, and they can be open, and they can be transparent. They can dodge. There's all different strategies in that. But
What else we got coming up, guys?
I don't know.
Municipal elections. What else you got? So we got Terry.
Yeah.
And really, what are you hearing about local journalism with
Well, and what I'm
with
seeing
this
is
show and with CHCO? Like CHCO is the only local channel.
it's the
They've
best,
got great
one of the
journalists.
best. Yep. One of the best local content.
People-
Joe, you ran into a
did.
client.
I was on the Zoom call video from Riverview, and
Riverview,
they said
yeah.
they watch every week. Thank you. And I got other ones that said they're going to start watching. But she was saying it's the only local, kind of
Content.
local content that they feel that they have to watch on TV, and to get a little more insight, not just a 30-second or 2-minute thing, but to get an hour insight into some goings on in our province. So it really is becoming wide-reaching throughout New Brunswick. Carr brothers. Someone said today in my office that they didn't know us, and they Googled, or no, they asked AI. They asked Chat whether Jody Carr Jody Carr the lawyer was the same as the Jody Carr the politician. And Chat GTP came back and said that yes, Jody Carr is one of the 3 Carr brothers.
Oh, wow.
And listed us 3 Carr brothers and who we were.
ChatGPT did that.
Yeah.
Oh, they're
Yeah,
spying
so-
on us.
Yeah. So that's
interesting.
Yeah. So you
You can ask that anything.
Yes, I know. We could have someone on talking about that maybe.
Like I'm trying to build a hockey pool the other night, and I don't know the teams anymore. I was like, well, who's the top scorer for Minnesota?
But you can't. Yeah, I know. But you can't rely on it every time.
No, not a.
I tried to do the same thing, and they thought it was last year. And I'm like, what the heck?
And they gave ChatGPT.
I argued with them. I said, no, they're not. I forget which team. I said, they're not in the finals. Yes, they are. And I'm like, so I had to do a screenshot from the latest information of who the 16 teams were, send it back to them.
To ChatGPT.
Yeah, and
Oh,
then
my
they
goodness.
said,
good
yes,
catch.
thanks for flagging that. Okay, well,
I argued with ChatGPT over
All the
Skinner,
time.
the goalie Skinner with Edmonton.
Yeah.
They said 3 times. No, they are with Edmonton. You're getting this mixed up with a forward that's Skinner.
And you do that with a car. You start arguing with me. I'm going to go down that rabbit. You want to go down this rabbit hole? I don't care if it's ChatGPT. If I'm right, I'm going to tell you. And they finally came back and said you were right. Thanks for that.
Yeah, good catch. But that was funny. I laughed over that. And so it's not 100%.
No.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it's
It
almost
is.
time to wrap things up.
Oh,
Okay.
Well, I hate to say
Isn't it?
goodbye.
It is,
I
yeah.
hate to say goodbye, but
I hate to say
folks,
goodbye too because it's been such a
How about
fun,
we say this?
fun episode.
See you next time.
See you, folks.
Good night.